We're going to start with our first panel. Our first panel is on AI leadership from state and enterprise. So for this panel, I'm going to call Shri Anucheth ji to the podium. So please do come. And I'm going to call Shrikant Sundarajan, Chief Architect Platforms from InMobi, to the podium. So before they get into their fireside chat, I'm going to give some context around, both of their interesting journeys. Sri Anucheth sir is the IPS Joint Commissioner of Police, and he is a 2009 Indian Police Service officer, born to Karnataka cadre, and currently working as DIGP Recruitment. He has, interestingly, he's one of the few government people I know who also is an engineer who understands technology at core level and engages with it in a very beautiful manner. So he holds BE in electrical engineering, electronics from RV College of Engineering, and master's degree in police management from Osmania University. He has served in several capabilities in police department across Karnataka, such as the Superintendent of Police in Kodagu and Chitradurga districts, and also as the Deputy Commissioner of Police in 3 divisions of Bengaluru City and the Joint Commissioner of Police of Traffic for Bengaluru City. So he's been awarded, beautifully with many awards. Awarded as Chief Minister's Medal in 2017. Awarded as the Union Home Minister Medal for Excellence in Investigation in 2019. And awarded the Nada Prabhu Kempegowda Award in 2020. Thank you, sir. So it's an honor to have you with us today. So now I'm going to talk about another illustrious man on the podium, Shrikant Sundarajan. Shrikant is a seasoned architect with over 25 years of industry experience, including more than 15 years in specializing large-scale data processing and distributed systems. He's passionate about open source. He's a passionate advocate of open source, and he's a member of the Apache Software Foundation and has served as the project management committee of several Apache projects. Currently, he leads the platform initiatives at InMobi Technologies, driving innovation and scalability. So with that, without much ado, I'm going to let them have a fireside chat on AI leadership.
Thank you, Parveen and Vinay, for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Good morning, everyone. So we'll start our conversation with a small preface, and we hope to have an engaging conversation with all of you rather than just speak in some technical jargon, and we'll try and keep it light and conversational. Now, all of us know AI is the buzzword, and everybody is talking about AI. And we are seeing how AI is shaping our society, and but what we need to look at is how we shape AI into having a society which is more equitable and inclusive and wedded to democratic and constitutional values. Right now, India is at an inflection point. We have a lot of opportunity to use this and scale this AI in terms of delivering better citizen services, enabling citizen welfare, at the same time make it more equitable. Whereas the concentration of enterprises would be at productivity, scale, and even innovation. The job gets more complex for the government because you're looking at a welfare state, and we have to do it within the democratic setup. So this is the opportunity that we are looking at in India. It's already being used in traffic management. It is being used in disaster management, for improving efficiency in public delivery, for fraud detection, for cybercrime detection. At the same time, there are a lot of challenges up ahead. The opening remarks had something about sovereign AI and our strategic autonomy. There's cybercrime. There's concentration of technology in few hands, and something which is palpable in all of us is the job scenario and how it's going to affect jobs. So that's the challenges for us. And for me, most importantly, the currency of this AI generation would be of trust. Whether we as a people, have enough trust in AI to make those decisions for us. Right? I think that will be the currency of this generation of AI. And at India, we have already shown that we can deploy digital public infrastructure at scale. In terms of UPI and Aadhaar, there are shining examples of how digital public infrastructure can be scaled for the most populated country in the world. And so that's it. I hope this conversation goes beyond both hype and fear, and we have an engaging conversation on how responsible AI can be better used and collaborated amongst government and enterprise to protect human rights and ensure better welfare to citizens. Okay, so let's dive in. Shrikant, you want to make your opening remarks?
Thank you. Very happy to be here. Thanks, Praveen, the organizers, for having me here, and very happy to share the stage with Anucheth sir. From an truly speaking from an enterprise standpoint, especially looking at a global scale, the ability to innovate rapidly and make decisions in an autonomous fashion, while doing that in a responsible fashion, is going to be the key, and that is going to create massive unlock and ability for us to move rapidly and create new markets, new products, new offerings in scale that we have not seen before. Like it's gonna like unlock us and put us in in the next possible orbit. That's sort of very very eminent and seems doable. But to do that very carefully, applying good judgment is going to be the key. If done well, if done with with that with a sense of responsibility and accountability, I think AI could become the infrastructure of sorts for us to make decisions in future, automation, enhance productivity, and just sort of move the needle faster across the board. That's at least seems very much on the horizon, and it is and on how we act today and tomorrow in sort of unlocking that is going to be the key. If we just let it sort of play out without controls, without thoughtful exercise of it, we could shoot ourselves terribly in the foot and create problems and kill it without realizing the gains and benefits of it. So I think we are at a point where the decision to create that unlock, how we go about that is going to be very very essential and key.
Yeah, but we are talking about AI and leadership, right? So what do the leaders of today need to take care of while deploying AI? I mean, in terms of decision making, and how do you explain to your board or to your leadership what is explainability of AI, and what about opacity in its the very process of AI, right? So how do you see this dichotomy in this both these things?
Right. We're sort of deploying AI in many phases, many places within the organization. So one easy sort of place that we normally think of today is to be able to deploy it largely for automation and productivity improvement problem areas. So we're able to do things that we were doing, but can we do it faster? Can we do it sort of better? Is sort of one area where we are fairly commonly deploying AI today. The other is to actually have AI itself as a product and create new opportunities through that. From a leadership standpoint, when you're looking at automation, it is easy for us to think of how to enable that automation through AI, but how do we have the right level of guardrails in place so that a human is in the loop at the right point where there is a consequential point. If you were to look at the journey of how AI is sort of playing out, you could have it do something autonomously, but there is a point in time in its workflow that there is a real consequence that can happen. So how do you sort of control that aspect is a specific focus area for us to look at how we manage that. And from a scenario where AI is operating in a very, very large scale, where it is not possible for us to be in the moment where we are controlling the decision, but it is actually, for example, we have AI based fashion apparel try on, for example. So it takes your picture and you're able to sort of it's one of the product offerings that our company is sort of building. So you take a selfie and then it allows you to try on different sort of apparels on you, right? Now there things like explainability, being able to have redressal and be able to raise grievance and be able to solve that, having a workflow ownership, etc., becomes sort of key. So the leadership here is figuring out in what scenarios and what kind of deployment of AI, what controls do we want to put in for that to get you the value that you're looking for, at the same time do it in a controlled fashion. So that's sort of how we look at it in particularly the context that in the context that I'm sort of involved. I would like to sort of figure out what the state's perspective on something like that is.
No, the fundamental rule that we followed while implementing AI in our systems was that AI is seen as a tool to augment human effort, not replace human labor. I mean, we are very clear about it, and act as a force multiplier. So when we implemented this traffic-based system, we were thinking how to make it more efficient. So the AI-based signals are relentless. They work 24/7. They don't get tired. They don't ask for leave. They don't ask for rest. So they work 24/7. So it made natural sense to shift to AI-based signals, and which are also rules-based, as opposed to ad hoc nature of traffic management. And also we could redeploy the staff for something else. So it made natural sense to shift to that. So the guiding philosophy has always been that AI will augment human effort and improve our efficiencies rather than replacing humans completely. So I think we are seeing it more of a redeployment and reskilling and a change of roles rather than it completely replacing somebody in there. So that's been the guiding philosophy in this thing. But it came with its own challenges, right? So we were discussing what happens if a fully autonomous car hits a pedestrian and kills him. Right? Now, who's responsible for that? Right? Say it was a rented car. Is it the person who rented the car? Is it the company which provided the vehicle? Is it the company which manufactured the vehicle, or is it the company which manufactured the AI in the vehicle? So if we go drill down to that, I get to meet a lot of leaders across the world who are in mobility and transportation, and when I have discussions with them, I mean, the thing is, nobody has even begin to understand the nuances involved in this. That's because I feel generally laws and policies, there's a lag between something being implemented and the policy doing that. But the way AI has taken over and the speed at which it is being implemented at, the policy lag is much more. So even till today, I mean, I was just discussing with somebody that a lot of human-driven cars are hitting Waymo vehicles in San Francisco, but they're not able to understand why. And it's still seen as a civic or a civil case rather than a criminal case. So it's in a flux. So it's quite interesting how we'll end up in a couple of years, because the way technology has taken off. I mean, we had ChatGPT in 2022 November, which couldn't add 8 plus 3, and it would give 15 as the answer. And today we have it coding nearly 90% of our codes across the enterprise. So that's where we are at, and that's the discussion we are having. I mean, at our level, at who's responsible for the decision that AI makes.
On that point,
yeah, I think there's a question and answer. We can have now. I mean, I don't mind. It'd be really engaging to take questions immediately.
Yes. So I apologize. I didn't get a chance to announce this. Since it's a fireside conversation, not a panel, we thought let them go really in depth, have a free-flowing conversation, and at the end of the panel, we will fireside. We're going to open it up to the audience for questions. Yeah, thank you.
this interesting. We're always short on staff. We could do with more people, especially in the traffic department. The enforcement became more rules based, and we are able to redeploy that force. I think there is sort of similar. What we are observing from an enterprise state. I can't speak very sort of universally, but from the perspective, or from the vantage point, from at least in the space that I'm looking at, we're able to find that we're able to automate. I'm very involved in a lot of the software development lifecycle, right? So that's sort of my role. So if you look at the engineering life cycle, coding is some place where the AI is being able to sort of make significant progress with good spec. It's able to write really good code in very few iterations. You can kind of land there. But if you look at the life cycle itself, it is coding has not actually been the dominant phase in the development life cycle. It was not the dominant, and with the coding phase shrinking, the rest of it has become even more dominant. The testing phases, the deployment, the operational resilience phase, and all that, right? So all of that is essentially taken significant time. In fact, code reviews, etc., take a lot of time. So what we are able to see is that we need to sort of make wholesome improvement across the life cycle for us to get a true unlock there. And even in those cases, people with great judgment are the ones. So if you think of this AI as like this superpower, if you have good judgment, you're able to wield it well, and draw a lot of power from that. But if you apply poor judgment in how you use it, you end up with subpar results. In fact, you may have to throw away a lot of kind of work that you do. So we are able to sort of train ourselves to apply that judgment better and better in terms of getting the best value out of it. But purely from a resource standpoint, we're looking at AI being able to accelerate and remove products rapidly in future. So there is the risk of it displacing per se is actually very marginal. You could do more with it, and I think the unlock, if you're able to get that unlock, we as a company, as an enterprise, as a business, I think we'll be able to innovate more rapidly, create more solutions that customers would prefer and buy, right? So that's sort of how we look at it. I mean, I will ask this sort of move on. So we'll move on to the next sort of question for you. Do you find it difficult to actually govern and manage AI in a state context?
No, not really. I think there are a lot of guardrails already available, and we are already looking at it from a ethical and responsible viewpoint. So, and we are using AI as a decision support system rather than a decision system. It is going to assist us only, and at the end of the day, the decision will be taken by humans. Because I feel right now we are at an inflection point where we'll have to decide how much we'll allow AI to decide for us, or whether at all we'll allow it to decide for us, and if we allow it, to what extent. I think there are certain spheres, and this decision will be, I think the decision to allow AI to decide for us will be based on something which affects us deeply at an existential level, right? In the sense where human emotion, empathy, judgment are required. Spheres like policing, judiciary, healthcare, where it's a matter of life and death, right? I think that's where I think AI would be used as only a decision support system rather than a decision system. Even in other places where we cannot allow AI to decide for us, but we'll allow it to take over certain reputable tasks or improve our efficiency. I think that's the way to go, in my view. And it's already being done in our systems, where it takes all the data, does the crunching, gives us the output that we want, but the final decision to implement or not rest with the human. So I think we're kind of sorted, where no decision is based on automatic or agentic kind of AI. Right. Even we have implemented agentic AI. Give an example in the 112 call center. So the calls coming in, the agentic AI can talk to them. But as soon as it it is talking, it is understanding what's happening. It's already rerouting the Hoysala vehicle to go close to where the place it's happening already. But the final thing is switched over to human, and then they take over and they take a decision at what level of interference where the police is required for that, if at all any interference is required. So the decision to whether interfere or not rests with the human, right? But the talking and understanding the nuances, and also language. So we were able to cater to only 8 languages. Now we are able to cater to all the languages of the world. So that's where I think we are seeing that kind of a thing. So in terms of responsible AI, yeah, I think we are there in terms of government services. That's the way it's going, because I think the important policy document for government has been the Niti Aayog policy, and the hashtag being AI for all. So they've told these are the sectors to be done, and it should be inclusive, and it should be adhering to the constitutional values. So that's being done. Yeah.
So the key, if I understand, is to be able to figure out what's the right problem where you want to deploy this solution, and in what flavor and nature do you want to deploy this, to be able to do it, and then be very clear about that it is an augmenting system which is allowing you to make those decisions, as opposed to it is making it autonomously by itself. Right? So so it sort of relates to me from what I was saying a little earlier. I think the consequences, and like you're saying, in some of the state issues, the consequences could be life and death, right? So that it's so consequential in terms of what you do. I think the same thing applies, but the cost is not life and death, but it could be business opportunities, lost cost, etc. Right? So in the enterprise context, you still want to be very careful. I think the thing applies there in slightly different form. You have to figure out what is consequence for an enterprise, what is considered risky versus non-risky, and still apply the same judgment there, and figure out if it's consequential, then make sure that there is enough governance. And so you even if you were to generate a lot of code, do you have a system in place for it to be reviewed, for it to be tested thoroughly before it moves any further, right? So that would be one sort of aspect that I can sort of relate to. But you want to apply that decision thoughtfully. I think that's a universal thing that we could borrow.
Yeah, I think we're coming close to the end of the 30 minutes, right, Praveen? So let's talk about the elephant in the room, the AI job loss, AI-related job loss, and how it's going to affect the job scenario. I think there's an anxiousness amongst a lot of people. What's your take on that?
So I mean, it is in the news. There's a lot of layoffs happening in large scale in some at least tech organizations. But it is not very apparent what is the reason for it. Is it purely through AI augmentation and deployment of AI that is causing this, or it is just repurposing the plan, or it's past overhiring that is causing this? But if AI does get used, there would definitely be I would say there will be no loss, but the opportunities for the staffing requirements would reduce to some extent. But I don't know at this point what that would be. Speaking specifically from the context of where I'm working right now, I mean, we are actively hiring. We are actively hiring, which means that we are looking at what the business can do further, and how this AI is enabled. So it's giving us the acceleration and the boost that we are looking at, rather than we don't need people, right? So that at least is not happening in the context that we're sort of looking at. But in general, I feel that AI, if used well, could amplify what we can do, and help us get better outcomes, rather than it being a threat to us totally. So that's I think the broader takeaway, I would say, right? So if used well, it can make us more effective, make us more productive. Then we can do more. So that's how I look at it.
What's your perspective, sir? Then we'll open
No,
up.
I think AI job loss is real. I think some jobs will go, but I think there'll be new jobs as well. It's how fast we can transition to those new roles. And within an organization, I think new roles will arise and certain tasks will go away, not necessarily the job. I think they need to reskill. From a government perspective, it is very important because this kind of insecurity leads to social instability, which is not required. We need stability and a person to feel secure, and for him to enable this thing. Otherwise, as soon as insecurity sets in, it leads to social instability. So I think from a government standpoint, again, like I go back to the Niti Aayog's policy, it talks about inclusive growth, and it talks about bridging the gap rather than letting it widen, and improving digital literacy and enabling people to use this. And also, I think there's a need for a framework now, not necessary regulation. I'm talking in terms of broad, ethical, responsible kind of a framework so that everybody can follow, and which enables collaboration between the enterprise and the government. I think that's where I would look at it, and it's the need of the hour.
Thank you very much. That was really informational from both perspectives. So with this, I'm going to open a short, time period for questions, because as you all know, we have a rigorous lineup of interesting sessions. So we would want to do it for 10 minutes and hopefully possibly 2 questions so that you can have in-depth answer to those questions. So with that, I'm going to open up. Anybody has questions? So he raised his hand first, so I'm going to give him a chance.
Yeah, I'm Srini here. Anucheth, I've been watching your videos. It's fantastic to watch your videos. I come from the same alumni as yours, but I think I'm a little senior to you. But that doesn't matter. The question here is now, as much as we all talk of AI and stuff, I think we're missing out on the big picture where what's the excitement we're bringing to the end customer? And I'll route it to you as customer. So today when I stand at the traffic signals, I don't find much of a difference between the days when it came from the 80s to the 90s compared to the VAC, which is now a trend, right? So I've taken time actually with the timer and sat and saw it takes 16 seconds at every signal, not so fast. So my question was, hey, if this was another form of an automation that was already there, what are we talking of AI, and how do I present this message to my friends and family? Because as far as, I mean, I'm also an AI person like you, where I get into the technology and stuff. So I want you to help me into my mind, correct me also, where I can take this message across to the public and to my friends and say, hey, it's just not a 16-second over here, which is just dumb, probably we're just, and the talk goes on saying we're investing into boxes and people are making money. So can you help me with that? Because that's a very interesting thing, which is, I love to go and share the wow factor of the AI, what you will do.
Yeah. So see, it's completely different from what used to happen in the past, where you have to have something called as fixed time signal. So you used to have phases in a day. So you say morning phase, traffic is low, we'll keep 16 seconds. In peak hour, traffic is higher from this side, we'll keep 40 seconds. So they used to have 4-5 phases in a day. But now it is a bit dynamic in the sense the cameras, they detect the traffic load at a particular junction, then allocate time as per the load in that junction. So you're using cameras, as well as in the mid block of the junction, you're using certain scanners by way of RFID, which is you're trying to see the queue length. Ideally, at a junction, you can use 14 parameters to detect and regulate traffic. You can see the time taken for a vehicle to go from one junction to the other, to transition a junction, queue length, waiting time. You can say, hey, I don't want a vehicle to be standing for more than 60 seconds. That could be a parameter, right? So the parameter we have used is, in a junction, we have mocked out polygons because we use discriminative AI. We have not yet used the second generation of it, which is going to be used. We used, because this was implemented way back in 2019, started in 2019, implemented in 2022. So we were only having discriminative AI at that time. So we used polygons and we said, okay, this is the limit to which I'll allow traffic to pile up. But what happens in a particular junction, if all the junctions are loaded, it becomes a fixed time signal, right? So what is the solution for that is traffic re-engineering of the junction itself. You can have a viaduct, you can have a flyover, you can have an underpass. So the AI-based signal becomes a fixed time signal at peak hours when all the arms to the junction are loaded. So that's why people feel, and generally most people travel during peak hours, right? Even you're coming to work, so you'll think, okay, what is the difference? But one palpable difference which we have done is that all AI-based signals have pedestrian crossings. Previously, pedestrians were totally neglected. You used to not give them time to cross. And I can tell you how it is felt. In 2023, the number of pedestrian deaths in Karnataka, in Bengaluru City, were 289. In 2024, it came down to 223. In 2025, it came down to 189. Right? That is a clear example of how looking at one section of society and enabling them to cross across, to move using this thing, reduces accidents and reduces fatalities. So I see in terms of second order effects of how signals are helping, not just in movement of traffic, but improving road safety as well. Now you might think why pedestrians are important. 27% of people are pedestrians, because even a person using a bus stand or a metro is a pedestrian for that moment that he's crossing in the road, right? So I see it in that way. You are right. Maybe new systems will come in where we can use synchronization. Synchronization as of now is very difficult. It is what is called in mathematics NP hard problems. If anybody is a math student here, today it is called AI hard problems, right? So they're still difficult to synchronize. We can synchronize 3-4 signals, but to synchronize at 500 signals, it requires something else, right? It will require quantum computing and all that. So there's still some time to go, but with the way AI is progressing, I'm very hopeful that we'll have a second generation of signals which are much more adept and can solve problems without much investment. And these signals are very forward looking. They already have V2C, V2X available. So ambulance tomorrow can connect it and say, hey, I'm on the way, clear the signal. So it's already ready. It's just the ambulance has to be fitted with a V2X communication tool. Yeah.
Okay, now we have time for one more question, and this time I want to get interesting questions from a complete diverse demographic. Ma'am, any questions to any of them? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Please. Please do.
Sir, I am from Tumkur. So I have been part of Smart City earlier as a DGP. So I have my own firm now in the policy and governance. So in that aspect, I would like to ask one simple, but yet it is complicated at your aspect. So if you want to bring in AI into the entire police department, into the Bengaluru City and the district level, so where would you like to bring in the policy layer or at the skill layer? So if we define the department, it will be 2 layers. One is at the policy level and at the skill level. Where humans are involved is the skill level. Policy is at the, like as you are sitting is the leadership. So where would you like to bring in the AI? Whether at the skill level or at the policy level?
No, to speak generally, I would like to bring in AI where there is a lot of repetition of tasks, right? And where the lot of hard work can be done by the AI. Example, if a petitioner comes to a police station, the petitioner need not know how to read or write, just speak in whatever language they want. They will give the complaint. The AI will reduce it into writing. It will also explain to them, say, hey, this is what it is. It will also give the section of law. It will pass it on to the SHO. SHO just has to see whether the section of law is right or not and sign off on, right? So that completely removes this kind of this interaction and this time taken to get an FIR registered. I'm giving an example. We already spoke about agentic AI in dial 112. So the policy layer where we would bring it in is identify those tasks which are repetitive, which can be reduced into specific algorithms and into rules-based kind of a thing, which can be then handed over to AI. It gives you an output, and those outputs, you can have a human there to take a decision on those outputs. In terms of skilling or in terms of what AI would be required, I don't think much skilling is required today. With the kind of output LLMs are giving, it's very readable. In fact, you can tell it that, hey, I want it in this output, and it will give that. So I don't think skilling is, in fact, I was telling we are working on something where they use a body-worn camera. They go to a scene of crime. The person turns 360 degrees. it just picks up whatever is there in the scene of crime, it reduces it. So it is basically picture to text. It says blood spot was here, glass pieces are here, the weapon is here, this is this many distance from here. So you have written your panchnama with chak bandi. All you have to do is read through it and this thing. So you have reduced human effort, right? So we are seeing from that perspective where not much reskilling would be required. It is automating what you're doing. And today we need 2-3 people to go to scene of crime. Probably you'll require only one person to go to scene of crime and do the work, right? So I don't think much of reskilling or upskilling is required, because today the output comes in a ready-made format, which is easily understandable by a +2 graduate, which is the entry level to the constabulary.
Yeah, already the department is trying at the policy level, because as you said, the scenario of 112,
Yeah.
it is a policy level implementation.
Yes.
So there is nothing change of skill or anything is required.
Yeah.
So,
Hello, I'm Sumalita, I'm CTO of DataStride. So as a promoter of AI, we do reach out to a lot of customers and on ground level, when we reach out to the people whom we are trying to implement AI for, right? So they have this reluctance. It could start from fear for sure, but when it becomes that reluctance for adoption of AI, as leaders, how are you planning to mitigate this fear in your organization or around, which will give them that trust factor to open or welcome the implementers or promoters of AI to implement and ease their work? Yeah. So that is my question.
Take this mic.
It's working, yeah. No, this is a thing of social engineering, right? How do you make any person use anything? You show it makes his life easy. Yeah. So our constables were very afraid to use something called as Astra Map, which is the backend facing app. There's a front end for public, there's a backend as this thing. So where they have to go and it automatically records their presence there and we can monitor them. So they were thinking, oh no, we are being monitored. We have another app, this, that. So first of all, we used to have 4 apps. We cut it down to 1 single app. Secondly, we told it'll give you a pop-up if the closest person to a traffic jam will get a pop-up saying that, hey, there's a traffic jam there. So he can be somewhere else, but still he'll know that, okay, I need to go there and this thing. So it made his life really easy. So to make a person adopt, ensure that it makes his life easy. He'll adopt that technology. That's what we followed.
Thank you very much. With this, we are going to close this track. But before we close it, we're going to call Navratin ji on stage to pass on a small memento as a vote of thanks to both of them. Yeah. Thank you, Anucheth ji. And thank you, Shrikant ji. Thank you very much.